Hey y'all, welcome to a Sunday afternoon Techthusiasm live stream. Just hanging out here this afternoon, finishing up. Actually, it was a busy morning here in the household, a busy weekend, but hopefully a lazier Sunday ahead. We had I don't know about it, close to 10 teenage girls over for my daughter's sleepover birthday party. Indoor camp out. They used the movie room. I think that's the single most largest use of our theater yet. They watched, I don't even remember what it was, something on the Apple TV in the theater room. But in any case, looking forward to cleaning up and chilling out the rest of this Sunday afternoon. I hope I'm coming through fine. As you're coming in, please do feel free. Hit the like button, post a comment, let me know who's there, where you're from, what's on your mind for, of course, home theater and techie topics. If anybody has any questions, that we want to kind of dig into here this afternoon, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, we'll do kind of just a chill hangout. I've got some channel updates. I'll kind of muse on some of the recent content of the channel, talk about what's kind of coming up. I did a couple of things. Since the last live. We did Brad and I, Home Theater Gamer. We hung out. I believe it was Tuesday night, and talked a little bit about LG OLED settings. I kind of went through really all the menus, audio and video related menus of the LG 83-inch LG G2 that's hanging in my living room, and so that was in that stream, and talked about like settings and options, some of the nuances in the settings on that set between like an Apple TV, / Kaleidescape for video, and the Switch. I think the LG OLEDs and some of their settings, super resolution and stuff, make the Nintendo Switch, I think, better than it has, better than it is for sure, better than it achieves on its own, and then a little bit as well on the PC and stuff. So I know I've been talking more gaming use of the spaces and the home theaters a little bit as I was contemplating a return to console. I picked up that PlayStation 5 almost 2 weeks ago to the day, actually. I went and grabbed it on a Sunday, and I'd spent quite a bit of time these last 2 weeks going through, comparing and contrasting again, since it had been several months since the last time I had a console. I sold my Xbox and I sold my PlayStation, feeling the redundancy of having just too many things that do the same stuff. Really wanting to minimize the system. It's something pragmatic home theater. If I didn't call it Techthusiasm, maybe I'd be calling the channel Pragmatic Home Theater instead. Because I don't know. I like to do this stuff, and I like to do this hobby at a pretty high level, premium level or whatever, but I don't like making it too complex. I don't want to have too many things and 3 devices that basically play the same games. Seemed a little bit much. But yesterday, after a while of soul searching and comparing and contrasting and pro and con lists, and really kind of doing it in concert with my son, which was fun, we took the PlayStation back. Yes. So my PS5, Best Buy has 15-day returns, and we went ahead and pulled it. Yesterday was the last day to take it back for a refund, because of course now if you want to buy things at Best Buy and get reasonable customer service, you have to pay for it. It's no longer included just by being a shopper, or even by being like a Best Buy rewards member or whatever. If you want real customer service at Best Buy, you have to be Total Tech and spend a couple $100 a year to get perks that you used to get for at no additional cost, I guess. And I am not a Total Tech member, so that means 14 days, right? Roughly 2 weeks regular return policy. So I packed up the place to reset it, packed up the DualSense Edge, and sent it back. I'll probably have to do an edited video about the experience, something about kind of like realigning myself against PC. I really wanted to like that PlayStation more than the PC, and it's so much more cost effective to go console. It is convenience, accessibility, ease of play, and all of that. is just so much better on the console as well versus that PC. And I have to say, I really, really like the DualSense Edge. I actually probably should have made a DualSense Edge review video while I still had it in hand to show it off. I probably missed an opportunity to have a pretty decent little piece of content there. But I really like that controller. I think as much as I've always had a preference to Xbox controllers in the odd, not the parallel sticks, but the out of alignment sticks. But I was really feeling the DualSense like naturally in my hands, a little bigger, a little heftier. The parallel sticks, having two paddles versus four, and having the little nubs instead of the paddles is great. I think Microsoft could benefit from having nubs included in the Elite kit instead of just only having paddles. But at the end of the day, I couldn't get over the fidelity differences. I played a lot of Batman Arkham Knight. I've been on this like super Batman kick lately, because I've actually been kind of but collecting some Batman comic books and spending more time on eBay and some other auction sites, shopping comics than AV gear even. A little bit these last few weeks, and Batman's been my focus there. So I played all the other Batman games except Arkham Knight, and so I dove into there. I think I'm coming up on like 20% complete on PC, so actually putting some time into enjoying some content and playing some games. And the PC just, man, it's just so good on Arkham Knight. PlayStation, that game never got a new generation update on console, which is kind of a travesty. It came out late enough in the prior console generation that I would have thought Arkham Knight would have been ripe for a graphic upgrade, a 60 FPS upgrade or something in the PS5, Xbox Series X era, and they never did it. It's never been forthcoming. So 30 FPS and the graphics in that game on console just look like the Gotham City is melting. Whereas on PC, man, just PC lighting, PC textures, and all of that. There's just no substitute for it. So it's amazing though. It's amazing how Sony is dominating the console space. There's been a lot of like gaming business news coming out these last couple of weeks, first out of Europe, and then now like Sony's Q1 financial results. And man, if you're shopping, if you're thinking about console gaming, you're thinking about buying a console, or you're debating like PS5 versus Xbox, it's probably no contest at this point. Like Sony is winning the console war, and we'll see what Microsoft does in response. But if you were thinking about a next gen console, current gen console now, and you were trying to decide between an Xbox and a PlayStation, I would unequivocally say go buy the PlayStation. They're actually in stock. They're selling like mad. It's just going to be the most supported premier first run pilot platform, and Sony's killing it. But they make their games for PC now, so perfect. PC is the almost everything box, where we can play everything Xbox and most things, and increasingly so most things Sony. We'll see. Hopefully the launch windows of PlayStation first party games from console to PC continues to diminish, and if they get Spider-Man out this fall for the console, hopefully I'll be playing that on the PC in 2024. There was even rumors of the next generation GPUs as well on the PC side, the 5000 NVIDIA series. Just within the last like 24 hours, I think there were some rumor leaks, whatever about that. So talking like 5000 series GPUs in 2024. So I think my rough plan on the gaming front here is basically to buy if NVIDIA stays to a 2-year cycle for the major releases, 4000 to 5000 to 6000 to 7000. If that happens every 2 years, I'll always buy that GPU. And then I think every 4th year, I'll just build a new computer. Basically upgrade, motherboard, RAM. Over the course of 4 years, I feel like we'll see everything flip a generation. There'll be a new PCI Express generation, so the SSDs will get faster. We'll have a new like DDR RAM generation within that amount of time. From DDR4, now we've got 5. Next one, 6 and 7, and so on. That'll be 3 to 4 generations of CPU technology. Right now, I'm 2 years out of date. I've got an 11th generation, and now they're on the 13th. And so I think that's like perfect. That's what I would want in a console cycle, is like you give me a minor console every 2 years and like a major console every 4. So I can accomplish that on the PC side. I can build a brand new computer, nuts to bolts, right? Every 4 years, but then upgrade to a pretty significant GPU upgrade every 2, and then try to convince myself to skip the supers and the TIs and the interim upgrades and all of that. And then it's not too much churn. It's not a lot of work to maintain it, and all that. But I'm excited. I'm having a lot of fun with Batman. So the Batmobile segments in Batman Arkham Knight, I think, are pretty sweet. Both the driving, and then you can go into like this tank mode, and there's like a combat element to it, and how they put the car into the environment with the winch and the pulley stuff. So I'm having fun gaming. It's been a while since I've played like a full-on single player game, and so that's been pretty cool. And my son and I, we need to jump back into Lego Marvel Superheroes. We were going back and playing some of the older Lego games there together and having some fun with that. So looks like a bunch of folks are coming in. I'll roll through some shout outs and some comments just to say again, as you're coming in, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this afternoon. Just hanging out here. I think the last of the teenage girls has left the household, so my background noise will tamper down. We got some cleaning to do and a lazy Sunday ahead after a crazy busy work week and a busy weekend yesterday and Friday night. So please, if you would, hit the like buttons. As you're coming in, give me a shout out. Let me know who's there, where you're from, what's going on. What did you do in the last week since our last hangout? Have you bought any equipment? Have you watched any cool movies? Have you played any great games in your home theater and your systems and your environments and all that? Give me a shout out. And as usual, I see we've got one. I'll get to it in a second. Not too proud to say and ask. There is the options, as always, for super thanks, super chats, super stickers, and all of the super duper things that YouTube provides to folks. And as usual, my last element of talking about that, proceeds from my channel go into my channel. So rest assured that if you decide to contribute monetarily, I'm pulling every one of those dollars up, and they will find their way back in value to the channel by virtue of being able to buy more gear, try some more things out, and do things for the channel and all of that. I've been it's been an interesting run in the new year here. We've had like a big pop month for the channel, and then a little bit of some quieting down. April quieted down a little bit. January, February were a little flat. March was huge. April's been a little flat. But it's been fun. I think I should easily hit 8,000 subscribers in May, which is just absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to continue my best my best skills and all of that to try to make better videos, higher quality videos, topical, helpful, useful videos, and everything. So we'll talk about some of the recent content and some of the upcoming content. So let's scroll through some comments here. Oprah Winfrey had a question to start us off here. Shout out from New York. Awesome. I spent about 5 years in Boston. So I've got a little bit of minor roots in the East Coast. One of my kids was born actually when we were out there. So she's technically a New Englander, not a Midwesterner. All right. So with the short experience you had with the Trinoff versus the AVM 70, you think it's an upgrade compared to the 70? I would put this squarely in the area of it depends. Is it an upgrade? Sure. I mean, the Trinoff is a monster. It's a beast. It's the pinnacle of audio processors, right, in our hobby. And it's the power, the expandability, the way that the platform is upgraded and managed and supported. And I have no doubt, like the engineering prowess being applied to the processing and the intelligence that a Trinoff is able to do in a system right now, and it'll be able to do in a year or 3 years or 5 years from now. I would have the utmost faith in that, above and beyond most anything else that's available because of what it is, and because of how they have managed it to date. And you pay for it, right? So whatever, $20,000, give or take, depending on some model nuances, I think, and whatnot. But excuse me, what kind of discounts you might be able to get or achieve. So that all said, is it worth it? That depends. What is the rest of the system that you're integrating the trin off with? Do you have some really high end stuff to plug it into? The one thing that I caution a lot, again, that pragmatic home theater kind of concept is like, keeping things in balance, right? You wouldn't go buy a trin off for a real basic system with some real budget equipment to integrate into. Same thing with like a Kaleidescape or whatever, right? You don't put a Kaleidescape on a 55-inch TCL television, probably, right? High-end stuff goes together, and it's consummate with the price points of the rest of the system. I'm very happy with Anthem. So for me to open my wallet and spend trin off money, it's been the case for most of the time that I've been doing this YouTube channel, and I would say it still exists for me in that same case today, that if I was going to open my wallet for $20,000 of home theater money spending on something, I would put other things ahead of buying a trin off. To me, I would have to get further along in this hobby before I would probably spend that money that way. I think the Anthem stuff is fantastic, and I have spoken with my wallet very clearly on that front, as every zone of audio in my household is now Anthem based, right? I've got the 70, I've got the STR, and I've got the MDX. I think ARC is fantastic, and I just filmed a video yesterday and edited yesterday that will come out on Friday. If you remember, hey, I'll put it out a little bit early coming up here. But kind of talking about how I feel about things that I will not do in my systems like ever again, or things that I will always do. And some of that coincides with room correction and treatments and Anthem ARC and that sort of thing. So I'm taking a roundabout way on this answer a little bit. So if you've got a complex system that is at the right level of like premiumness to support the trin off, and you won't miss, or you don't have a better way to spend that $20,000 in your system, then by all means, like, get it. You're at the pinnacle, and you'll never have to worry about an audio processor again. For me, if I had that money in my system, I would probably upgrade my AVM 70 to a 90 and call it a day for the next decade. And I would put some money into some other things. So I think the Anthem stuff is absolutely fantastic. I think the 70 is fantastic. The 90, is another pinnacle level, and there's a pretty big price gap between a 90 and a trin off. And plus two for me, I don't have a super complex system. 7.2.4. If I got myself to a 90, I would make it 7.4.4 and stop there. I'm not putting extra speakers in my room, and I don't think I have a need of like really complex, super acoustical management in my space. All of my speakers are in pretty like stably recommended, like best practice types of positions. I think Anthem ARC does an excellent job with the room. So kind of some of my thoughts there pretty consistently. I don't think that opinion has changed much here for a while. All right, Julius, super awesome, regular friend of the channel, like a number of folks that are here. Thanks. Hello and welcome. Travis, hello and welcome from Oregon. Got BW, Bill W from MW. Awesome. We've got, we just hit that question. Yeah, just scrolling, popping through comments here. Good to see your channel is doing well. Yep, so it's been cool. We'll be 8K. Hopefully we'll easily make a 10K milestone this year. I think I don't know what a reasonable goal will be. We'll see just how much more past 10K we can go. But it's funny, like the measuring stick for YouTube, I think more historically used to be subscribers. Now it's like I've seen the comment around like social media business and stuff like that quite a bit, that like subscribers is how you measure ego, but like views is really how you measure the impact that you're having, on folks, the value that you're adding to the world by putting content out there, how much you're helping people. And of course, even on the revenue side of things, like subscribers don't really matter, quite honestly. Subscriber count, put it that way. If you really want to make money doing the YouTube thing, you need views. And there's a lot of channels that get like tons of views without even really having very many subscribers. But I like to see both. Well, views, because then again, I'm making stuff that's relevant. The more views, the more people it's reaching. And again, it's helping, it's adding value, maybe helping them solve a problem or think about something or improve their home theater experience, or just kind of share, right? Feel they have a friend, feel they have a friend in the hobby. Because I tend to do this stuff very vloggy and very personally and stuff like that. Share a lot of my systems and the things that I'm doing. And but subscribe. I like to see a nice like to see the subscriber count growing as well, because hopefully then that means we've got an awesome community of people that are like vested in the channel, and regular parts of the community. So this whole endeavor is just so much fun, and I foresee doing this for a long time to go, and hopefully interleaving the family into it. And just there's, I don't know, so much potential. There's just so much potential. I got my son posting again. I think I shared that out of last weekend. So out of my doing this inspired him to put his little channel together. He calls it the Fun Zone. He makes some crazy creative Lego stop motion and general stop motion videos, and he's back on the train of completing some things. He's a bit of a perfectionist, a little bit maybe like his dad. So this one video that he had been working on for a long time, he really got stuck up trying to finish it. And I was using all of my management skills from work to try to project manage him and basically guide him along a little bit. And it's like, man, perfect is the enemy of done, and all these platitudes and stuff. But anyway, he finally got that one done and has moved on. So I hope he starts posting again. Like, he's got a video, a blocks video. It's not a short, it's a regular edited video, regular aspect ratio and stuff. It's like whatever, 30 seconds long, some 30,000 views. So he likes to hold it above me, that like he's got more views on that video than most of the ones that I make. But so I'll give it to him. I think he's got a future learning and doing this stuff as well. I keep telling him, it's like, man, you put a video out every week, maybe every other week. By the time you're a teenager, it's like, forget, you'll never have to like work at Kroger pushing carts or whatever. Like, you'll be able to do this, like put your time and money into creative entrepreneurial pursuits. So LBMWM3, another name I recognize there. Welcome. Moved on me. Where'd it go? Travis. Lucky enough to get PS5 right after Christmas of 2020. Yeah, feels like an old console now. Hey, I'm ready for a PS5 Pro. I would like to see a PS5 Pro. If we had like new consoles every 2 to 3 years, and they would step up the price a little bit to really make them super, super powerful, then I would be out of PC gaming in a heartbeat. It's kind of like the same thing I say about Kaleidescape, almost like but I guess, you got kind of the more budget option for an entertainment source. And then you have the premium option, which or luxury, as we talked about the other Friday, right? Something that involves more costs and more, just more. There's a lot more involved in getting into it, getting a Kaleidescape over an Apple TV, iTunes, or whatever. And there's a reason they provide what they provide, and there's a reason Apple provides what they provide. In the gaming space is the same way, right? You get different things out of a $400 console than a $4,000 PC that takes a lot more time and effort and knowledge to build and maintain and all that. But you get return on that investment. Yeah, I would love a $700 or $800 premium console, because we're definitely, even these current consoles are struggling. I don't know if anybody's playing the new Star Wars or paying attention to Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but that thing's failing miserably on PC for that matter as well. Underbaked, like most things, most software, a lot of content nowadays, like they come out underdeveloped. They needed more time in the oven. and they didn't get it. So kind of a bummer. But even the even like the performance mode or whatever on the PlayStation and the Xbox, that thing, it can't hold frame rate. It can barely maintain 1080p resolution or whatever. So pay to play. Here we go. Super awesome. Super thanks. Super chat sticker there. Mission Enjoyment. I believe that's a new name. Maybe one that's been in the comments before, but I think maybe new to the live streams. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's see. I recently started my iTunes movie collection after watching through all your videos, breaking down the differences, Kaleidescape and Apple TV. Loving the quality. Thanks for everything. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, man. Pragmatic home theater. That's what we're all about here. And I try to make the videos that are about like puzzling through this hobby, making decisions in this hobby for hopefully good reasons or grounded reasons that make sense. We have a lot of stuff to choose from in this hobby. I think like from the base elements of like, what is our system, what is the scope of our system going to be, then we have to choose all of the equipment, then we've got to choose where we're going to get our content from, and and all that. So it's just like it makes sense that there's so much content out there dedicated really to this hobby, because there is so much choice, so many variables and different pieces and total elements of this, like that you can completely take or leave in systems, depending on what you're building, what level you're building at, what you're looking for, what you enjoy, right? Do you sit on more of the audio side of things, or a preference on the video side of things? What do you value the most? And so I love the debates, making the choices, puzzling through rationale for making those choices in my content. And that, I think this is such a huge choice in our hobby, is where do you source your content from? And we have fundamentally three pillars, I would say, kind of four, between buying on iTunes, buying physical media, and then choosing to rip that to make your own kind of digital or like online served media out of it. And then far out on the other wing of that extension, right, we've got Kaleidescape. And so I think some people are served exceptionally well by Kaleidescape, despite the price, of course. And I talked about a little bit of that on Friday's video, about the luxury versus premium, and really what it means. Like, why is Kaleidescape priced the way it is? Not to justify it, but to try to explain it. And so, again, I think some people are super well served by Kaleidescape, and I think for some folks it doesn't make any sense at all. And then some folks are super well served by just sticking to iTunes. There is nothing wrong. There's so many platitudes or whatever pundits about streaming quality. It's terrible compared to, and I don't think it's terrible at all. I think it's actually quite good. Is it as good? No. A disc is better. It's got higher video bit rates. It's got lossless audio, and those are tangible improvements over a stream, which the same thing that Kaleidescape is. But is the stream bad? No. Streaming's awesome, especially now. I mean, we're getting streaming bit rates that are knocking on the door of the lowest of the bit rates that we even see on disk to begin with. And Dolby Digital Plus matte encoded streaming at 770 kilobit. Some of the folks out there, I'm pretty sure that claim that they can realize so much of the differences in their systems. I bet if we sat them down in a well-designed, properly calibrated room, and we level matched and blind tested them across a variety of content, I think more folks than not would fail to identify those differences. I would love it, man. And I say this in the comments too. I would love nothing more if I could just bring myself to pull out on the K, pull out on that gaming PC, just get myself an Apple TV and a PlayStation 5 and be content. Life and my execution of this hobby would be far less expensive, cheaper, simpler, and all that. But I like the quality, and hey, I get a little bit of benefit out of it because I'm able to talk about it by having fundamentally multiples of those platforms. I'm able to make the content about it. So I get a little fringe benefit out of staying vested in multiple platforms as well. Because if I didn't own it, I couldn't really speak as knowledgeably about it. So I like being able to talk about both. Z's Gaming Channel, another regular that's come up in a lot of the live streams lately. Good afternoon and welcome. Got a question here, LBMWM3. Would you recommend Kaleidescape 622 versus MadVR due to budgeting constraints for now? So this one's come up a couple of times. It's very much an it depends question, or the answer is very much an it depends type of answer. And it really does depend, I think, on what is the rest of your system. Do you have a flat panel? What's the size of your flat panel? Do you have a projector? What is your projector? Do you have a JVC, at least an NX model, if not an NZ model, that already has some pretty nice tone mapping in it? Do you already have a big physical media collection? Are you trying to get out of physical media because you're tired of discs, you don't want to rip anything, or you just flat out don't want to have like shelves and store and manage discs and deal with trailers and FBI warnings and all that, or deal with waiting, right? You want to watch movies in higher fidelity, and you don't want to wait 3 months for the disc release to come out. Do you have a theater that has a scope screen, or do you have a theater that has a 16:9 screen? That changes the calculus as well, because I think if I break it down to a couple brass tacks of these if conditions, right? Speaking as a software developer here, let's talk about some if conditions. If you have a scope screen and you need a video processor, or you would benefit from having a video processor do aspect ratio management and adjustment for subtitles and menus and controls being off the screen, there's a very positive element to having the MadVR in that case. If you if you do not have a JVC projector, and we're talking about a theater-based room here, meaning you do not have an NX or an NZ, which has pretty solid, good baseline dynamic tone mapping built in, then the MadVR will do more for you. A video processor will do more for you. Conversely, again, on the Kaleidescape side, right? So those are really the virtues. I think those are really the important virtues of the video processor: scope screen, aspect ratio management, and tone mapping. So if you've got a 16:9 screen and you've got like a JVC NZ 7, 8, or 9 on that thing, or even an NX9 or NX7 like I've got, and on the other side, again, you're tired of discs, you don't want to manage them, you want something that's a higher fidelity video and audio than streaming. You don't want to rip anything. You want access to movies months before they come out on disc. You want access to like 700 plus and growing more titles in 4K/HDR sometimes than are even available on disc because they haven't been released. Do you want to rent that stuff instead of having to buy it, which you can do on K, right? Then that really lends itself over to the Kaleidescape side. So if I'm behind in the comments here, LB, but if you want to put some of those kind of answers to some of those if conditions down below, we can revisit them a little more as we go through here. So for me, I bought the Kaleidescape. I do not have a video processor right now. I went for the Kaleidescape first. And I think that was a good call. I've enjoyed it. Again, I've got tone mapping in my JVC. It's been solid. I've got a control system, which makes it a little bit easier, at least, to change aspect ratios and manage that stuff on my scope screen. I've been very happy with the K ownership experience, access to the content. It's just so easy, so simple, early access, high fidelity, guaranteed, all that stuff. And I wouldn't discount Lumagen as well, right? Versus MadVR is another option, which is quite cost competitive as well. So if the answer is both, hopefully in the long run, probably for all of us, right? The answers to this question we're probably just going to get it all eventually. It's just a matter of when. So it's definitely a case, as he said here, right? Budgeting constraints for now. So it's not really which one ever. It's probably which one first, right? Which one now. In that case, I'd probably go Kaleidescape, maybe sooner than later, because you can probably work around the stuff the Mad VR would do. Again, or if you have that JVC and you already do have tone mapping. I would say if you've got a flat panel, if we're talking about a flat panel setup, even if it's like an 83-inch or whatever, no Mad VR. Do not go buy expensive processors for flat panel televisions, like ever, in my opinion. They don't do anything for you. You need a projector, and ideally a projector with a scope aspect ratio screen to really make that stuff be worth the money. Otherwise, yeah, go put a Kaleidescape if you've got an 83, 85, whatever type of TV. Definitely that could benefit from a K. It has no benefit from a processor, video processor. Bodie, another super regular. Happy Sunday. Welcome. Gentoo Pat. Hello. Oprah saying he upgraded to per listen. Man, I really want to hear some per listens. I remember it was in I think it was in comments to an older video, actually, and I think a newer viewer had happened upon my videos and was making some comments about Focal and stuff. I forget the name now, but yeah, man, my ultimate goal of being able to redo the living room and all that someday, somehow, some way, I would like to experience both the Focal Utopia and the big Perlis and S series in walls in my living room, and shoot those things off, measure them up, and pick a winner. I think ultimately, in the long run, those are probably my leading options for what my end game in this house, in this living room might be, and even in the theater potentially as well, in a future speaker upgrade down the road. Z's saying, question, I guess we organize my music. What kind of free open source software could use to get CD covers? Oh, I don't know. If anybody in the comments could help with this, feel free to sound off. Quite literally, like, I have not ripped music CDs in I don't know how long. So I am completely out of the game for music, local music, management, ripping, serving, metadata, and all that stuff. I guess I would say look to Rune. If I was going to do something where I was going to really hands-on manage a library, collection or whatever of locally stored music nowadays in this day and age, I would probably look to Rune and hopefully, let that take care of everything under that banner. That seems like a pretty interesting, pervasive, and pretty rich solution for stuff like that. But I don't have a good option for you there. Sorry. If anybody else in the comments has an answer, please share it. So rolling through some comments here. I got some other topics I plan to hit as we go as well. Just again, hanging out Sunday afternoon, lazy Sunday after a busy week. Definitely a busy week for me. Had my boss in town, visitors from out of town. Man, I ate so much pizza, drank a lot of beer this week. I am like cranking at the bit to go to the gym tomorrow and go lifting, turn some of this liquid and dough percolating, turn that into some muscle energy and go hit some weights. But it was a good week. It was fun. Some partner events from the day job. There was a review week, getting reviews, delivering reviews as a manager, all kinds of stuff happening. Yeah, Crying Brian, welcome 2060. Do it 10K end of May. Man, if that happened, I don't know what I'd do. We would have to have like some crazy celebration, something like give my JVC projector away or something. I normally run, like, I would say nominally speaking, 500 to 800 subs a month, 800 on the high side, hopefully usually no less than 500 on the low side now is kind of like the growth rate of the channel. So in 1 month, hopefully, we could be knocking on the door of 8,500 if it's a really good month. But to get to 10K from now in 1 month would be something. That would be something. We'll see. Hey, anything's possible. Yusuf Freydoun, hopefully I'm saying that right. He's an Apple iTunes movie collector. Love it. You're doing it right. Recently, some movies not upgraded for free and required to rebuy. That's annoying me. Um, that is probably due to maybe where those movies came from if they've been in your collection for a long time. So, for example, uh, depending on if they were like some kind of a code of an old disc, if they were like a Movies Anywhere port, um, though the only thing that gets upgraded, this is a really important element. I probably am due to like remake that video actually. It's kind of funny to say that actually. I've been like doing YouTube long enough that I think some of my better videos from longer ago that have some of the most probably important information that's still relevant, right? From a watching perspective, they're kind of dead because back on early in the channel, they got limited views and YouTube isn't going to really show those videos to anybody anymore. But there's probably some hidden gems in the old content. So I think it's natural that channels like remake and update, of course, the most pertinent older information that they have. So in any case, if you're going to do the iTunes thing, if you're going to build a collection of movies in iTunes, forget everything else. Really, forget Movies Anywhere. Don't redeem codes and port stuff in. Don't worry about porting in from Movies Anywhere. You should unanimously and always buy the content directly from iTunes, right? And ideally, if you don't want to pay a more expensive price for it, wait for it to go on sale. iTunes puts so much stuff on sale every single week. I can guarantee you, if you have a little bit of patience, you can buy every movie in your library that you would want at $5 or maybe $8 on sale eventually if you watch the deals. And Blu-ray.com is like the best place to go. You can go to Blu-ray.com, you go to the iTunes sections, you look at deals, sort it deals by day, and just look at the plethora of content that almost every day new stuff is up for sale. But if you buy from Apple, if your purchase is registered as if your content transaction is registered as a direct purchase from Apple, then you're going to always be guaranteed to get the most preferable treatment for your ownership rights, the free upgrades, and all of that stuff. If you acquired it another way, a Movies Anywhere port, or even some older code redemptions that might have happened directly in iTunes and stuff like that. Like for example, if you had a movie that changed rights, like there was a distribution owner for that movie a long time ago, you redeemed a code for it, and you had it in your library, but now the distribution rights to that movie belong to somebody else, and then that movie gets upgraded to 4K, they're not going to give you that one because you kind of have an older defunct right to that movie, and now it's represented by a different instance. So, rule of thumb, kind of forget everything else. If you're going iTunes, stay home. I guess is a way to say it. Stay home in iTunes. Buy from Apple. And then later down the road, when we get iTunes high fidelity movie level, or we get 8K, whatever's coming, something's coming, right? Whatever we own now is not going to be the same thing that we own in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, whatever the track is going to be, that it will be upgraded. There will be new standards. There will be new audio, video elements and codecs and pieces to come along because this industry has to make new stuff so that we all upgrade our equipment in a reasonable amount of time, and the industry can make its money and advance and grow and all that. Buy from iTunes. So you probably have some straggler codes or rights or ports or something. I have them as well, where you don't get them. For example, I can give a perfect example of this actually. Shrek. Shrek 1 and 2 have been upgraded to 4K. I think 2 more recently. Puss in Boots was upgraded to 4K in conjunction with the second Puss in Boots movie coming out. I don't know where those rights came from for me. They probably came, those are DreamWorks, which means that sometime a long time ago, I probably bought like Shrek and Puss in Boots or something on Blu-ray, and I had them probably in ultraviolet in my Vudu account. And then when Movies Anywhere came along, they went from Vudu to Movies Anywhere, which brought them to Apple. I didn't buy those movies directly from Apple. Apple did not give me the 4K upgrades to Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Puss in Boots, and so on. And so actually this week it was on sale. I just went ahead and bought the like Shrek 6 movie collection, because all 6 of those, well, I hadn't bought the second Puss in Boots movie yet, but the other 5 movies, the 4 Shreks and the original Puss in Boots, I had them all. I had them all in my iTunes account, but they weren't an Apple right, which means that Apple was not going to give me 4K upgrades on any of those films. And probably Shrek 3 and 4 will get upgraded to 4K at some point as well. So I just bought the bundle. It got me the new Puss in Boots, which I actually want to check. I haven't checked it yet, but I want to check it for streaming bit rates. I'm curious what that one is streaming at on the video side. I'll do a quick check on that soon. But now I've got them all. So they're all 4K upgraded. And when 3 and 4 now, they're HD now, but when they get upgraded to 4K, I will get them because of that purchase. But that's the way to do it ultimately. I'd probably do for an updated video on that topic. PK Hamu 2005. Hi. Any feedback on the new SVS in-wall subs? Yeah, since you've tried in-walls. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind if something were to work out to try to demo or review or test those. They look pretty sweet, dual drivers. One of my problems is they have a bigger wall footprint than the triads. So I might have a hard time in a more permanent installation. I may have a hard time fitting them in more completely. And there's not a lot of, I think, info on them yet. I don't know if technically if they've even gone fully on sale. I feel like there's a couple pieces of gear, even coming out of CES and from some months back that were announced and talked about, shown off, and we haven't seen a lot of information on it yet. And I feel like those subs are one of them, because I went looking for some more details, and I don't even think they were. Maybe this was a few weeks ago or whatever, but I don't even think they were on the SVS webpage yet. Like there wasn't a product page. I was stuck looking for info on those subs based on just like Googling for CES articles and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with those. That goes back to my idea, my plan, my hope of wanting to rejigger the living room, reface the bump out, the framed bump out in my living room in a modular way, so that I can put different speakers, different in-wall subs, be able to hopefully demo and review and test some different things, and be able to accommodate taller. Because right now my wall goes up, to about head height or so, and then it's flush, and then it bows out, it angles out, and there's a board through there. So that limits the addressable height that I have in there. But if I go through with the project of ripping the drywall down and cutting everything flush, I can make those channels to the left and right of the TV completely open, take out the whatever, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the lumber that's in there, breaking the upper section from the lower section. So I have a complete vertical channel. The only downside to that is like, yeah, I can make this vertical channel, but we have whatever 9-foot ceilings. I don't want to put any speakers 9 feet off the ground. You want the speakers kind of tighter, relatively tighter to the TV. And if you start looking at speakers like those Perlisten S's, a Focal Utopia, those are very tall. And then you put in a tall subwoofer. It's either if the speaker is above the sub, the speaker will probably be too high, or vice versa. Like I'd end up with like subwoofers way up. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out. But we will see how that project goes forward. But I am always keenly interested to learn more about, keep an eye out for new in-wall subwoofer options, and the SVSs look pretty cool. Low Key NX THXN. What's up? Welcome, my friend. A couple questions here. How's your 724 coming along? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with my theater setup right now. I have, again, no real desire to put more speakers in, and even not super jonesing for more subwoofers. What I need to do, I say it far too much without actually doing it. Oh, I got a kitty in here. He's been snuck in here with me. The cats are trying to hide from all the rowdy girls running around the house for the last day and a half. I need to move my subs around into a more advantaged position, hopefully, to get a little more performance out of them, and then from there consider options for more perhaps down the road. Yeah, yeah, the game is terrible. Um, talking about Jedi Survivor. Not a great string of major like game quality. Hogwarts had some problems. The last couple of big AAA games have really needed more time in development. Try to move through some of these comments a little faster here. Travis, yeah, my only chance for a Kscape would be stumbling upon one at an estate sale or a garage sale. It's expensive, you know. Again, it is what it is. They charge what they charge. It is a luxury home theater solution, and as I broke down to the best of my ability on Friday, luxury products are priced by virtue of being luxury products. They are not priced by virtue of, you know, in line only necessarily with their features and their capabilities and what they do. So it goes. If a competitor to Kscape ever emerges, you know, we'll see what happens. Or if they decide to change their market strategy, move down segment and change things up, you know, I guess we'll see what happens there as well. Or potentially decouple from the very tightly controlled and integrated markets through which they sell, such that, you know, they could sell on Kaleidescape.com, internet direct, log in to a Kaleidescape.com web store, buy one, and take multiple levels of, you know, markup out of the product price. But they would basically destroy their dealer network overnight by doing that. There's big challenges. It's big business challenges. We'll see. You know, your other option is go used. Kscape Owners Forum. There is regularly a pretty decent, you know, turnover. Not like an overwhelming amount, but they come through often enough that you can pick something up. The used gear there, including the Strato S, you know, single storage player solutions, which can be had pretty much still in the used market. You get a used Strato S 6 TB, you could probably snag that under $5K perhaps, from a qualified seller. That might even be a dealer. And, you know, those came in, I think, at the tail end of the 5-year warranties. So you can still get Strato S's that have a little bit of warranty on them as well. Those options are available. Or, of course, check with my friends at Audio Advice. I think if you go and use my referral codes, if you go to Audio Advice, pretty much on the webpage, they mark the stuff down directly. They offer published discounts from MSRP right on the product pages, and then of course call them and push them. They cut me a deal. Techthusiasm sent me, cut me a deal. And make sure to give them the referral code because that kicks back a revenue share. Yeah, Best Buy sucks now when it comes to buying movies. The Best Buy at me now, I have like the new style store. It had been a while since I had been in there. And then a few months back, my office used to be literally like in the adjacent center to a Best Buy store. So I kind of frequented my way into Best Buy more often in the past. But since going back to work after COVID, work from home times, we moved offices and now we're away in some other office park. But anyway, I had my first foray into my Best Buy store. And man, that place is different. It's like a sharper image store now. It's like completely different, like coloring, branding, presentation. It's more like a showroom. The Magnolia stuff is actually a lot nicer. I was impressed by some of the things they showed off in the home theater area, but no more movies. Movies are gone. Physical media is gone for video content. They still have very small physical game shelf sections, but yeah, it's interesting the way they changed up the store. Crying Brian 260, just got my 12 terabyte Kaleidescape. Do I need it? No. Will I get rid of my 17 terabyte NAS? Yeah, heck no. I'm not buying it all over again. So, you know, what you're going to find based on the anecdotal sharing of other folks that have been in the same boat, you know, done the rips, had the servers or the physical media collections and so on, that have decided to dip their toe in the water of Kaleidescape, is most folks tend to really like it. And, you know, you segue your way in. The thing about it is, just because you installed that unit doesn't mean that your NAS stops working, right? So no, you don't have to turn 17 terabytes of ripped movies or physical discs into Kaleidescape digital licenses overnight. Take your time, buy stuff on sale, buy your favorite stuff in bundles, do a little disc to digital if you want to, particularly on the movies that would redeem for the $4.92 price, and not the 20, still the $20+ prices that some of these ridiculous studios want to charge. Buy the new stuff as it comes out and segue over, and then join the others that admit to buying way more than they thought they were going to buy in a shorter period of time. And hopefully when you activated it, you used my referral code, because not only do I get $100 in movie credit if you use my pile, whole some bunch of numbers, it's basically linked in every video, but you get $100 of store credit as well. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I wish Kay had Dolby Vision. We will see. I think we await the Strato C2 or whatever name it may be given, and we'll see what we will. No pun intended. We will see what comes with the new Strato C. I would hold any expectations of significant Kaleidescape hardware announcements to always generally coincide with CEDIA, which is in September-ish. So expect the biggest announcements, and particularly new device announcements from that company, to come around CEDIA time. CEDIA is their CES. Crying, yeah, the waiting for it if it comes on disc. Yeah, there you go, right? And we watched Top Gun back in the summertime, or midsummer, early summer, whatever. When did that come out on disc? August, September, sometime in the fall. I can't count the number of movies that we watched early, right? Because of having the K. And I think I commented in the prior live stream the other 2 weekends ago, I think now it was, we went and saw Mario. And we were standing there in line at the theater. First time this year we went to a commercial theater, probably the third time in the last 4 years or whatever. Looking at all the movies that are at that show at the moment, then whatever, right? John Wick 4, Creed 3, Dungeons and Dragons. I think Puss in Boots was still there. Everything was already on K, except for Mario. It's up for pre-order, but it hasn't been released yet. But man, if Mario would have been available on K, we probably just would have watched it at home. Although I did enjoy going to the theater. Imagine if you're in the Midwest, which I think is mostly where they're focused. Imagine Theaters and Super EMAX is solid. A good commercial cinema experience. So man, I'm having a hard time keeping up. I got to pick up the pace here. If you've got questions, comments, topics, thoughts, feel free to throw them out. And I am falling behind, plus some of general chit chat that I wanted to get to. We're already coming up on an hour. So, hey, I will take them. Super chat, super thanks, stickers, whatever. If you've got a question and you want to use that, I will give it its due priority. And again, every dollar of support goes back into the channel. I need to show profit on my taxes this year from this business endeavor. All right. I got to let the kitty out of the room. Give me 1 second. All right. Oh, I was hoping to do this downstairs. However, my daughter's birthday party with her friends, they were doing a camp out, and it's a camp out theme, and they got rained out in the camp out. So we had a big tent we were going to put up in the backyard. But due to the weather, we opted not to do that. We actually put it in the basement. So they slept in a tent in the basement. And there were still, the girls were still getting picked up and all that by the time we started the stream today. So streaming in the basement next to all the commotion would not have been the best choice. All right. A lot of new names. I love it. Love the regulars, of course, all the regular support, but it's also equally fun to see new names popping up. Dead 209. Best Buy is going the Radio Shack, but yeah, all the employees on the floor. I'm paid by Samsung, Apple, and LG Appliance. That's what they want to sell. Huh? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope Best Buy doesn't go away. I tried. There's a couple of stores that I really hope stick around and figure out a good way to go in their future. Best Buy is trying to evolve. That's why the store was rebuilt the way it was, right? They're trying some new things. They're trying some different things, trying to stay relevant. But man, if Best Buy went down, we've got a couple of home theater shops around the area here, way less than there was, whatever, 20 years ago. But if Best Buy went down, a couple of the things that I still like to go to Best Buy for, I don't know where I would go. I mean, I just go online, I suppose. So I like Best Buy. I like them being there. Barnes and Noble is another one, man. I hope we don't lose Barnes and Noble because, like, I love books. I like being able to go to a bookstore and shop books and different things around the other kind of stuff that Barnes and Noble has. So speak with your dollars and support the brick and mortars that you want to see stick around. I actually spent more money to buy something yesterday than I needed to because of that. My son and I, we had a little time. We had to go pick up the girls from their activity. They were doing this adventure park kind of thing, part of her party, and we had a little time to kill. So it's like, oh, let's run by like one of the local comic shops, which are dwindling as well. And they had a book there for him, Dogman. Dogman's pretty fun. If you got some younger kids and you're looking for something crazy, goofy, silly fun to read, Dogman is great. But anyway, the new Dogman book came out and they had it, and it's like full cover price, $15. Pull it up on Amazon. Yeah, not whatever, $9.99. Could save 33%. Free shipping. It'll be there this afternoon. It's like, nah, screw it. I'm gonna pay $15 and we're gonna buy it here. Buy it at the comic shop because I want this place to be here. Mission enjoyment. I make video essays. I want to take a clip here and there from iTunes films I own. Cannot figure out how to do it. Try Camtasia. Actually, you need a software that would let you kind of record the screen in a window or something like that. Try out Camtasia. I actually use Camtasia to run the channel. That is my video editing software. I really kind of I need to skill up and make the transition to more formal, like production editing software at some point, I think, which would let me do lighting and some other more powerful stuff. But Camtasia is more about making kind of like video-based presentations and more businessy kind of things. But honestly, that's what I use for the channel. And I can say Camtasia has a whole bunch of options for screen capture and capturing to put things into video content. Roundster TV, welcome. Happy Sunday. Gary Folks. Sorry, I'm probably getting that wrong in one way or another. Added another sub to my system. Oh, feels like 2 subs downgraded my experience. Any ideas why? First sub, JL Audio F113, and second E112. I was actually doing a consulting call yesterday with someone, which, by the way, those are available. I'm booking those. I'm openly available to do those now again. And actually, they've been picking up awesome, fun conversations, and still, I think, batting 1,000. Every one of them, the folks have left happy and felt that they got a lot of value out of doing that. And part of that conversation was consideration of adding a second subwoofer. Do they have to be the same model? Do they have to be the same size? No, they don't. And in many cases, like, having a bigger sub and a smaller sub, helping to balance, just having the smaller one there to help smooth things out, add some value. Generally speaking, you see, don't mix ported and sealed. So this is a tough one though. So maybe that if that's it, I don't know these models. I'd have to look them up. That would take a little bit more time, but if one's ported and one is sealed, you could be getting into some weird integrations that way. I don't know what you're driving these with, what you're EQing them with. Hopefully you're EQing them with something that is treating them independently. Try to move them around. Maybe one of them or the second one got put in a spot that's really not an advantaged position for the room. or to help bolster the other one. Like maybe it's in a different location, of course, because they may not be occupying the same exact space, but if they're experiencing the same nulls, then you might not be getting what you wanted out of it. You really want to have them in positions that have different dynamics in the room. So you provide a little more info, I might be able to give a little better of an answer, but those are some things at the high level I would think about. Low key NX Dixon, do you think 5.1 or 5.2 is still relevant? I think absolutely. I mean, if you don't have, so that again, this is where pragmatic home theater. If you don't have a space, you're dealt the cards you're dealt. You live where you live. You probably live there for a reason. Maybe you enjoy this hobby and you want to execute this hobby in your space. But if your space is not advantaged for stuff, sometimes we have to accept that. And because just because you don't have 15.6.6 with trin-offs and and mad VRs and all this stuff, like, doesn't mean that you can't enjoy this hobby, and it doesn't mean that your system is irrelevant. So you got a really nice living room, you want to use it for this hobby, and you got vaulted ceilings and you have no chance of getting up there for Atmos speakers, and bouncing sound is just going to be all screwy and silly because of the structure of the room, then skip the Atmos stuff, man. Don't worry about it. Do the best you can with what you have. Put your money, into the best stuff that you can get that accentuates the space you're putting it in and what you're doing with it, and enjoy it. And don't worry, don't sweat what you may or may not have. If you can't get speakers behind you, don't worry about having speakers behind you. In my living room right now, I don't even have surround sound, and I love it. I use that room in order of magnitude more than I use the theater room. And I maximize that room for high end, for what is in there, 2 channels of audio, great speakers, still got some subwoofers, really nice processing, room correction with Anthem Arc, got that STR, still running separates and nice amplifiers and all that stuff. Good sources, and I love it. If I moved, and I've said this, I've made the videos about this as well, they're out there on the channel. We went out on my wife and I, we had our little getaway to Huntington Beach last fall, and I was really loving elements of living right on the coast, in that like Huntington to Laguna stretch of California. And so as I do when I go places, I think a lot about just a fun thought exercise, whatever. What would it be? What would living here be like, right? Where would we live? What kind of house would we buy, and all that? And out there, you probably wouldn't have like what I have here in terms of equipment, space, room, theater room, and all that. So but I would be happy. I'd be happy with a massive, just 2-channel system, well integrated into a living room. And if I had to downsize, or I moved to another house and I didn't do the whole home theater thing, and even multi-channel audio didn't work for me, well, screw it. I would be happy with, take all that money, the $100,000 or whatever, right, that some of us might be putting into multiple spaces and the dedicated home theaters, and go get yourself a 97-inch OLED. Flank that thing with like, some Folk House Sopra number ones, or the bigger, or some Utopias, or the biggest of the Perlisons, and some D series subwoofers. Do a 2.2. Don't worry about multi-channel. Phantom Center works fantastic. So you have to make everything in this hobby usually comes with a compromise, and nothing is irrelevant. So long answer to a short question. Nothing is irrelevant. Do the best you can with what you have and power it up, and have fun. Yeah, 5.2. If you can get there, 5.2.2. There's you have so many options. Yeah, Gary's saying, so there you go. Rune is the best for cover art, for 2-channel audio, paid service. Again, I've not used it, but I've seen about it. I learned a lot about it actually at Audio Advice last year, Audio Advice Live. And if I were going to do something, that would be what I would look at for managing, serving, storing, ripping audio, and all that. Bodie saying, my daughter graduated from WMU. Awesome. Congrats, man. My kids are getting old. It feels like kids get old so fast. So fast. I was watching the party festivities from afar, a little bit, engaging a bit as well, and having some fun, but just like watching with a tear in my eye that like all these little independent kids now no longer becoming kids, and then listening to all these teenage girls talking about their crushes. Like, oh my god! I told my wife, I'm like, why is there so much conversation about who is whose crush? I don't need that. I don't need that in my life yet. Oprah Winfrey, low key, yeah, I think so. 5.2.2. Bruce asking, yeah, how stable and reliable is the Anthem 8K in its software, HDMI, handshake, clicks, pops, etc. So actually, it's funny. I was talking in my consulting call yesterday. I was actually talking with somebody that had bought a Anthem 1140, and they bought it recently, so they naturally got the 8K one, and was talking about like some pain points around like CEC and eARC and things taking a while to sync and stuff like that. I think they've definitely had some work to do on the 8K boards. So I'll say though, unfortunately, I still haven't upgraded mine. When I saw that the 8K boards, they needed some fixes, they needed some updates, some firmware fixes, and all that stuff. And the fact that I don't really have to switch anything that's HDMI 2.1 for my setup, I've held off on the update, and it's $500. So it's like $500 for something I really don't need. I've kind of decided to wait. Particularly, there's been some issues with folks, I think, with the new boards and the Kaleidescapes, which I just didn't want to deal with as well. But I was just talking in the call yesterday. I said I was kind of overdue. I don't really read AVS forum much anymore. But that said, there are a couple of specific threads that I visit every once in a while. And the Anthem owners threads there are one of them, just because like that's a hot button place where if something is either like been updated, going really well, or something is not working right and going really poorly, it'll get talked about there. So I need to kind of catch up and see what's the latest with those boards. I know there's been in some of the recent firmware releases, there has been notations in the release notes about fixes related to HDMI. I can say with my AVM 70, thankfully, knocking on wood, to date, I have not had any HDMI problems with that. And I've done a lot of challenging HDMI things with it, including using the Zone 2 HDMI. In fact, I still switch using the Zone 2 in order to be able to access my Kaleidescape in both the living room and the theater zones. And it's been flawless for me, thankfully. So some folks may still be struggling. I think some additional fixes are still in order, but I'm a little out of date with the current state of them. Jeff saying in-walls are oh, you got them. Haven't installed it yet. Cool. I'll be interested to hear more about it. One of the things that I was I don't want to talk about it because I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't know what the details between like theoretically like an in-wall subwoofer, particularly if bass management is being performed in another device, like it shouldn't matter what amplifier you use with it. But I feel like reading some of the earlier blurbs and stuff, like SVS was doing some more specific things that you may want to use an SVS amp, like with their sub. But I was also trying to move away from that. My goal, I want to talk about this a little bit. Keep shooting through some comments here, is looking at the Class Ds and stuff like that. I'd really love to have like a 4-channel, minimum of 4-channel, possibly 6 for the future proofiness, amplifier, so that I can run all of my living room speakers on one amp, including the subs, and let the STR do all of the bass management and stuff like that. I don't want to have to buy and run independent sub amplifiers for the in-wall subs of the living room. And I wasn't entirely convinced that the SVSs could do that. I'm not sure. I need to You check that out. So Loki's saying, wonder if 5.2 is relevant. Say a 5.2 in a bedroom, and with 2.12s. I think I lost the thread a little bit here, but I think ultimately, again, if you can't do it, don't sweat it. Do the best you can in this hobby. Do the best you can in this hobby with what you've got. So scrolling through here a little bit, some more threads around there. Here we go, Bruce. Can you suggest the most stable and reliable AV processor with XLR outputs under 3,500? So I'm going to, come on, what channel are we on? Anthem, AVM 70. Not quite under 3,500. Very close. You could probably get it for less than that with a little bit of discounts and stuff. But I would buy an AVM 70 all day, every day. That's exactly my system. It's all XLR outputs, and I love it. Your other options would start to get you, I mean, you've got a lot of options for sure, right? You got Monoprice, you've got Emotivas, you've got Arcams, you've got audio control, JBLs. Some of those are starting to hit over 3,500 though, I think, as well. So some of those options would really push your budget a bit. You got the new Marantzes, and Denon doesn't make a preamp. It'd be the AV1, which I think is breaking that budget now as well. It's like crazy how some of this stuff, some things in tech have gone up and some things in tech have come down. But I love the Anthem. Nothing is going to be 100% stable and reliable. So I guarantee it. You will, no matter what you buy, it will have some shortcomings. It will have some features that are in need of update. So I've been happy with the Anthem. I've dealt with its quirks and I've overcome them. So I'm all Anthem all day with the answer to that question. Yeah, so just following the thread in the comments here about the Apple TV and some of the multi-channel stuff. We'll see what happens. We are now, what is it? Slightly 6 weeks. June 5th. Almost a month, actually. Less than 5 weeks away. WWDC 2023 is 5-ish weeks away. What are they going to say? Are we going to get TV OS upgrades, codec improvements? We're going to get DTS for IMAX Enhance. Are they going to juice up other features on the Apple TV? Are we going to stream True HD and DTSX bitstream from Infuse? We will wait and see. Or will we get nothing? Will they not even talk about TV OS on stage like last year? We will see. I will say, just rolling the dice on it a little bit. If anybody is thinking about, like, if you're thinking about a K and you have a feeling in your gut, a hunch that we may get higher fidelity streaming and better quality audio from iTunes, you might want to wait until May or wait until June to buy your K. Yeah, Bodie's saying if K-Skate comes out with the Dolby Vision hardware, it might be a good thing for people that need the used market. However, is Dolby Vision worth buying the new gear? Only if you're going to use it. I would not. Kind of like review, demo, whatever kind of thing aside. I predominantly use my Kaleidescape in my theater. I do not have a Dolby Vision projector. I don't need it. I would not spend more money to put a feature on the projector that the projector does, in a room that the room doesn't even support. Now, if they did DV and HDR10 Plus as well, like the new JVCs do HDR10 Plus, could be cool, but it's already still dynamically tone mapping, and maybe I end up with a Lumigen or something anyway soon enough. I don't know. I don't think I don't know. To me, like, I don't think the Kaleidescape hardware needs really much of an upgrade, honestly. There's just really not much more that the hardware needs to do. It's capable, it's pretty snappy, It's not falling behind in terms of like needing a new CPU performance and anything like that. You got the DV thing out there, like HDMI 2.1. Okay, what would it do? They did like the QMS stuff, the quick media switching, a little less blank screen, but then your display devices have to support that. And I don't even think is there even really any even flat panels that support that yet, let alone projectors. It's like, I don't know. And then the storage, I mean, it's a bunch of hard drives. What is that going to do? So really the improvements, the path forward, the megaton announcement, opportunities from Kaleidescape, to me, like right now, they're not in hardware or new devices. They're in software and like software services and features and capabilities. So I could care less about a Strato C2 or some other swap in the Terra hardware setup at Cedia this year. Like I want to see new KOS with all kinds of cool features. Who knows? Maybe an Apple TV app, something like that. Oprah, Oprah has her own spatial. Okay, so following this thread, sorry. Julia's saying he buys physical discs 100% online. Yep, Best Buy, Amazon, eBay. He haven't walked into a brick and mortar. I mean, they're diminishing. I was in a Target this past weekend. My son has been building a Rubik's Cube solving robot, which is pretty sweet. We actually spent a while this morning working on it. It connects to like this Lego Mindstorms thing, and then we had to run some other Python code with it. And we were having some trouble. It can't recognize all the colors. But anyway, we went to Target to go buy a regular Rubik's Cube that has just the regular fixed colors and stuff. And Target still had some physical media, but Best Buy, man, it's pretty much gone. Let's see, scrolling. Got a shout out here. Andrew, hello from Iowa. First time on a live stream. Thank you so much. Welcome. Craig Witcher is asking, I have 3 DefTech Studio Monitor 65s as an LCR array, a 724 system. All are under the screen angled up. Do you think it would be an upgrade to go to the KEF R3? So I have to admit, these are speakers that I have not heard firsthand. KEF R3, a true 3-way speaker in a bookshelf size, $29.99. Looks like that's $29.99 a pair. Yeah, I would have to research these a little bit more. I don't have a personal experience to pull from to give an answer to this. If anybody in the chat is familiar with these speakers and wants to chime in, help Mr. Craig, please do. I might recommend that's probably the type of speakers that like Andrew Robinson might have reviewed. But I'm sorry, I don't have a good recommendation there. There's certainly a lot of speakers at that price point, including some Focals. If you wanted to talk Focal, I can talk Focal a little more definitively, no pun intended. Low key watcher from Toronto, Canada. Welcome, my Canadian friend. Anthem is a Canadian company. So Oprah saying, I don't have any problems with my 8K VM70 working great. Yeah, that's good. I think actually too, in the call that I had yesterday, we were talking about some of the delays and stuff like that. I think some of it might have been also a little bit of expectation, perhaps. To me, as soon as anybody says like, oh, my audio sync or my HDMI sync is taking too long, and it's like a flat panel based setup in a living room, it's like, man, too long is still pretty darn fast, most likely. Like, I've got the frame of reference, and this is what I was talking about yesterday too. Like I've got the frame of reference of having the theater room and the living room, and man, like the length of time it takes for a theater and a projector and all of those bits and pieces to get fully prepared audio and video on a screen is like an eternity compared to the slowest of flat panels and living room setups and that sort of thing. So I think it's all relative, unless you definitively are having a trouble or it's HDMI syncing problems, and it is out of hand. But Loki asking who uses PS5 as their Blu-ray player. Not me. I just returned mine. Going back to the PC. Bodie's asking, what is Infuse? Infuse is a piece of software. It is an app. It is exclusive to the Apple ecosystem. Runs on Apple TV, iPhone, iPad, Mac, and it is used for playing local media rips, files off of a server or cloud storage. Even they support. Think of it, if you're familiar with that stuff and you know what Plex is, Infuse is a stand-in for Plex. Long story short, it's a little different though. Plex has a server client structure to it. Infuse doesn't have a server. It's basically a client, but inside the Apple ecosystem, it syncs across your devices using iCloud. So in my opinion, it makes it a little more easier to use. But within the Apple ecosystem, it's super powerful. It has a very nice Apple-esque UI, fits in with Apple, say, design standards quite nicely. Pretty good metadata and features for presenting your movies and TV shows and all that stuff that you might have ripped from discs. Within the Apple ecosystem, it probably has what I think is the best file format support in terms of file types, file formats, codecs, and all of that, with the glaring omission being that it cannot bitstream Dolby Atmos or DTSX, which is not necessarily Infuse's problem. That is an Apple TV limitation that we hope maybe get eliminated at some point. I do have like a general review of Infuse on the Apple TV on the channel, which is probably the best if you want to watch what is this thing all about and what does it do, how does it work. Check out that video. I think I've got it titled as the best is this the best media playback app or something like that, but it's Infuse app review. Julius asking, have you heard Golden Ear speakers? Yes, I have actually. Golden Ear is sold by my closest local home theater shop, and one of my best friends has a pair of Triton 2 Plus. I think they're the 2 Plus towers that he bought from that very shop, and with my kind of recommendation that he was looking for towers. He didn't want to add external subwoofers to his system, at least yet. He wanted some towers, just a 2-channel setup that would still be able to have some bass energy to it. So his theater is my old Sony, my prior Sony 85-inch X900 that he bought, cut him a deal on when I got the LG, and then he's got the Golden Ears with an Anthem 540, and they dig it, they love it. Good brand. Great pedigree in terms of the founding. Golden Ear was founded out of Definitive Technology. Sandy Gross, I believe, is his name. It's a brand that I had considered buying at some points in the past, before I had done this home theater setup and stuff, but I never did end up buying the brand. I think Shane Lee, Spare Change, just reviewed some Golden Ear subwoofers as well. But they do ribbon tweeters, which is kind of a unique build. I think some people really, really like the ribbon tweeters and how they sound, their response, and all that stuff. So definitely a brand worth considering shopping speakers. Sammy 10001. Have you tried real Dolby Atmos music in your Atmos system theater? Yes, I have. Using Apple Music. I have tinkered with listening to Atmos music tracks in the theater, which is of course fully Dolby Atmos capable. I think it's pretty cool. I probably spent the most time listening to that Beatles album, Sgt. Pepper's album, plus a few other things, and then I came back from Audio Advice with having jotted down a few different tracks, I think, at the time that people had been demoing a lot of stuff with. I'd say I don't experience it a lot, honestly, just because I don't tend to go to my theater to listen to music. So it's not something that something that I've demoed and tinkered with. It's not something that I use regularly. And then, of course, in the living room, I have the Apple TV set up to output as Dolby Atmos to the television, but it's a 2-channel system. I only do that because the bit rates and the audio quality is higher, not because of actually getting the surround or immersive audio benefits of it. Oprah saying, yeah, 2 to 2.5 second media switching with the AVM 70. 5-year-old complained about the time. These privileged children. Yeah, I don't have any trouble with the switching speed. I think folks. So I'll say this actually though. I think for whatever reason, like higher end audio gear tends to have more delay than like say more not regular, but like the Denon Marantz or whatever. Like I used Denon Marantz for a long time, and I never remember noting like, wow, like it takes a minute, not a full minute, but it takes a second or several or a few, like to have audio once the video signal is up. And then when I tried that Trinoff, actually, man, Trinoff, I don't know if they've improved this in the last 2 years, but when I had that, it took a long time, and it took me by surprise, like wondering if something wasn't working right. It's like, man, videos playing even in the theater where projection, speed of HDMI syncing and the projector getting all set up to output a signal from the point at which that signal starts getting sent to it is slow enough, but like the Trinoff, the actual presence of the Trinoff audio lagged that to the point I'm like, wow, like it's kind of like this should be better. This should be much better than that. Anthem is kind of in the middle. It's not quite as fast as the Marantz, but it's definitely faster than the Trinoff was. But I'm still at the point now, though, even with the Anthem, where if I start playback of a movie, on the Kaleidescape menu or on the Apple TV menu, press play, I hear the audio before the video is fully up on the screen. Assuming that the projector is going from SDR to HDR, assuming that the projector is moving the color filter, which I'm actually not using right now. I have that disabled for the extra brightness and stuff. But nominally speaking, you might have a color filter that needs to move into place. So you're syncing SDR to HDR, color filter, frame rate adjustment from 60 to 24. All that stuff takes time. And so more often than not, when I start a movie, I wait a second, pause it. As soon as I hear the audio, I pause it, wait the other few seconds that it takes for the image to be on the screen, and then hit play again. And now everything is playing in sync together like you would expect it to. In the living room, it's all snappy. Signal gets through the TV, the STR gets the audio up, and the video changeover is instantaneous, borderline on a flat panel. But different dynamics for different systems. So Craig's saying Amos music is cool and new quadraphonic. It won't ever be a mass consumption product. Yeah, I mean, we're in a niche. We're the niche of the enthusiast in this hobby for sure. I don't. Well, let's take my friends of the channel, right? My deliberate home theater friends that I met because of YouTube and AVS forum meetups and stuff like that. You take all of them out, and I don't know. I know one other person that has a projection setup that was kind of recommended to them, I think, to do in their basement when they did a basement rebuild. They've got, I'd say, a more modest surround sound setup. I don't even know that many people that have surround sound setups. I don't know anybody that has an Atmos setup or, immersive speakers and stuff like that. In terms of like my regular friends, historic friends, family, whatnot. And the one friend that I mentioned that has the Anthem and the Tritons is the only one that even probably has an audio system of record, I think. Yeah, Sammy saying, welcome, Sammy. Turn off is slow. So input 5, 6, 7, and 8 switch is a little faster. Interesting. That's different inputs. I think turn off along the way had an HDMI board upgrade as well. And there's like, is the case, there's like a 7 input board and then an 8 input board, and the 8s are better. So there's something like that, some logistic like that exists in the Trinoff realm. Super shout out as well. Super shout out to Sammy. Sammy, as of last weekend, is a channel member. Check out his name. You too could have a cool green name right now, just by being a channel member. So, the memberships are there. Check them out. The base channel membership gets you a couple like nifty little things on the channel and some cool recognition. And then the more premium one, at least I'm trying to drop some videos to the premium members earlier than the normal publishing schedule. And I'll see what else I can do. I hope this year to do more with memberships, and also probably additionally set up a Patreon or something. My big challenge is this is the side gig. And so it's tough to make meaningful. It's tough to make meaningful membership and Patreon like bonuses, value, things that I want to make sure that I can deliver on regularly as well. If I commit to doing a bunch of stuff, I need to make sure that I can do it, because a lot of times for me, like doing YouTube is a scramble of fitting it in, fitting it into life. It's like, all right, I got this window of time, and I got to spin this video out. I'm going to do some editing over here. Got to do a recording here. Going to set up this call. Weekends, evenings, kids practices, all that stuff. Everybody knows. Everybody's got their things in life. Craig saying, ridiculous that the Apple TV can't stream high-res Apple Music to an AVR. Yeah, I think that's something that will change. And I don't know if that's necessarily, I can't imagine that it's necessarily a hardware limitation that we would need yet another Apple TV to do it. It's probably a tvOS thing. So that's another element that would be really cool to see come this year, actually, with WWDC, is turn the Apple TV into more of an audiophile device. They did, they upgraded Apple Music last year. And so now, like, if you're going to deliver the content, give us the devices to play it and do it. Like, we should get 24 384 on HDMI out of an Apple TV or whatever we can get. Oprah is thinking about Storm Audio instead of a Trinoff. That's the next level of things, right? If Trinoff is the pinnacle, Storm is like right here. Could save a little, some good change, I think, with the Storm over the Trinoff, but Storm delivers some of that more configuration, expandability, super premium power features that's a step above the rest of the pack, right? Anthem, Arkham, JBL, Monoprice, Emotiva, like all Marantz now. There's like this pack of them all. And above that sits the Storm. Above that sits the Trinoff. And then Lingdorf, there's a couple of other ones as well, but those are so, to me, like so infrequently referenced, brought up, encountered, owned, whatnot. So there's a few more of those other ones out there, but Storm looks cool. There are definitely some folks in the hobby, like Gene, Audioholics, and others that get a lot of value out of their Storms. Talking about those switches, yeah. So in the Trinoff, the 7 is the older, still switches faster. Oh, interesting, because of how the lanes are set up. Mine is 8 input, so it has the newest board. Yeah, waiting on the 2.1. So they have their own 2.1 upgrade as well. That was actually recommended to me too by Chris Deering, as we've been talking about the Trinoffs and stuff. Is like, I could go with the smallest Trinoff, the 4240. It has 2 HDMI inputs on it, but they're basically on the same board. And I think Chris was saying, like, if you're going to run your sources through your, Trinoff, I meant Lumagen. I think I said Trinoff. If you're going to run your multiple sources directly into a Lumagen, let's say you have two sources. If you get the 4242, it has 4 HDMI inputs, but they're on 2 different boards or subboards or whatnot. So you would want to make sure to put one device on one subboard and one device on the other subboard, and you'll get kind of faster switching response and all of that. So some of the intricacies of hooking stuff up. You can see that also sometimes, I think, as I've been looking at amplifiers, like if you're not going to use all the channels on your amp, you want to do a little bit of reading, like read the manual or do some research or whatever, because you may not want to just like sequentially use channels 1 to N. You may want to skip one or spread them out or something like that because of some of the power delivery and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure in the NAD master's manual, like if you're not using all 7 channels of the M28, you want to skip some and move them around in that way. Yeah, it'd be awesome to stream lossless audio, Apple TV. We will see. We will see. No, an AVR would not need to have an update. It would just put the Apple TV on par with a Blu-ray player or a Kaleidescape or anything else as a PD, NVIDIA Shield, anything else that can bitstream lossless audio. It would just be using the same codecs that all those other devices do that work with our audio processors and receivers and all that. Yeah, Sammy's saying, I know only 3 other people that own a Lingdorf beside myself. No, they have a Lingdorf and a Trinoff. Wow, man, you're rocking it. Premium brands. Cool. I got through the comments. I got caught up. I'm caught up to real time. We're at 1:45. So we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. Go check in with the family, chill out here on a Sunday. I can hear the vacuum cleaners and other things going on. I should probably be contributing to that. So a couple other things I mentioned. So we talked about the PlayStation. That's back. I got my PC. So we'll be doing some PC rebuilding stuff coming up as I consider what the future of the system is. Knock out some Batman Arkham Knight. What else happened here? We got some cool 4K upgrades in Kaleidescape. Superman. The 70s, 80s Superman films are seeing their 4K upgrades. That was pretty neat. Kaleidescape has a set of really nice movie posters updated on those movies as well. I went through the other day and actually I had a little bit of store credit thanks to using those codes, folks. I had some Kaleidescape store credit, so I decided to just go. And those credits they expire within like 2 months, I think, of when they were procured. So I went and redeemed a bunch of 4K updates in my Kaleidescape account, and I noticed the Superman movies were there. So we're getting a little bit of a rush of 4K upgrades. Still waiting on Rocky. Still waiting on Leica Animation Studios 4 films. But let's see what I bought. So I bought all the Supermans. I bought Hitchcocks. I bought some, mostly Warner Brothers, mostly the ones that were all $492 on the privileged pricing. Trolls got updated. That's been an interesting one because on the DreamWorks side, we had Trolls and the Boss Baby on 4K Blu-ray disc, like way back at the beginning of 4K Blu-ray. And for whatever reason, like those have been real slow coming to digital platforms. Why that took so long, I have no idea. But I bought the rest of the Star Trek, so I've got the whole Star Trek movie series, original and next generation movies now in 4K, waiting on the Kaleidescape. So that was pretty cool. Apple upgraded a lot of that stuff in iTunes as well, but Apple doesn't have the new Superman posters. I hope they get that. I like seeing new posters come. Fancy new posters come to digital content libraries when new iterations or masterings or releases of the movies comes out. It basically feels like you kind of like own, you own the new disc release with the new box and the new covers. So that's always pretty cool. And I've been shopping the amps a little bit more, thinking about the Class Ds. I actually had a little bit of an exchange with Dylan, the guy that owns and operates Buckeye. Not too far from me. We're only about an hour apart, actually. And so I they've got new stuff coming. Actually, he's working on right now. So if you go to buckeyeamps.com, they've got the new NCX 500 Hypex modules, and he's also building with the new Purify the ET740 SA V2s are in as well. So I'm like, wow. Those amps are not in. Actually, I don't think a lot of the Class D folks are building with those modules yet. NAD is not. So actually, the NAD Masters series, for all of its cost, is running the ET 400As, not the 7040 SAs, and certainly not the 74 SA V2s. So, and even Apple-on Audio, I reached out to them. They've got the 7040s, but they're not building with the 7040 SA V2s as well. So I'm hoping, if you're watching, Dylan, if you're watching. So anyway, he said maybe hopefully coming this next week we could chat. So I think it'd be pretty cool. I'd love to like have him on, do a live stream, talk about the amps, really talk about the new modules. I probably have 1,000 questions for my own decision-making process that I think other folks would be interested in as well. So, hey, if you want to see a Techthusiasm review, who knows, maybe purchase, whatever, use, demo, live stream, drop a note to Buckeye and say, hey, get together with Jeremy, and we'll see where that goes. So that's pretty good. I'm still very interested in doing that. Like I said, even as a first step, I'd be happy leaving the Parasounds running the theater for a while longer. But I really want to get the living room on its own amps, and I want to get the living room, both speakers and both subwoofers, on a single amplifier. So if that means maybe a 4-channel pure, and I am kind of drawn to the Purifies. I don't know why. It's just, people regard the Purify as being the better amp versus the Hypex, but I think that's what would be cool, to get somebody on and really talk about it. Like, let's break it down. Hypex versus Purify. What's it all about? What are you getting, right? Quieter, better noise ratio, signal to noise ratio, a little more power. But what are some more deeper rooted fundamental differences, some engineering differences between that? So we'll see where that goes. Look for that coming up. I'm still debating on the Lumagen. I got to pull the trigger on buying my Audio Advice Live tickets for later this year and stuff like that. So considering all these things, yeah. Sammy's saying he picked up Last of Us, pre-ordered. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. What game is Sisu? Last of Us. You playing on PC as well? Is that The Last of Us on PC? Thinking about Buckeye. Yeah, Buckeye seems to have gotten a lot more press lately. I think it's because like Michael and Ryan, right? Those guys, Youthman, Ryan has the Buckeye amps. So there's a couple of other folks that are on YouTube regularly that have bought and are enjoying the Buckeye amps in their setups. So I feel like I'm hearing about them a little bit more. Yeah, they are a little smaller. I think on their webpage right now, they don't have pictures of like what the newest build looks like. At least, well, actually, no, they do. Okay, it's very understated chassis. But I mean, really, what does the look of the chassis really matter when these things are in a rack, and you never see them until you walk into your rack room. Yeah, and 8 channels as well. Yeah, so that's where I was debating what I would do. Like I could see getting a 4-channel for the living room, and then a 3-channel for the theater LCRs, and then an 8-channel for the remainder of the room. And if I even wanted to save some money on it or go a little simpler, you could go like do the Purifies for the living room, because we use it so much more and it's bigger speakers in there. Do the purifies for the 3-channel for the theater, and then maybe do a Hypex or something for the surround and immersive channels in the theater. Yeah, so we'll see about that. Did you hear about THX Special Audio? I have not heard about THX Special Audio. Are they advertising THX coming back? Are they trying to come back in with some things there? Oh, the Kaleidescape show. Sorry, I was thinking gaming. Sorry, yeah, I forgot about the show. When I hear The Last of Us, I think gaming first. Yeah, Kaleidescape is getting the HBO Max, formerly HBO Max exclusive. The 4K Blu-rays are coming soon as well. I think it's out actually, isn't? I thought The Last of Us on Kscape was live now. Oh yeah, Sisu, that's the movie. Yep, German one with the dog. I'll have to look at that. The next family movie we may do. I've been reading the 1960s Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Spider-Man with my daughter. And so we ended up watching the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man a couple weeks ago now, actually. And she was eager. Next time we do a movie, it's like, can we do this? Can we do Spider-Man 2, the Doc Ock, Tobey Maguire one? We'll skip number 3, though. I think that one was kind of trash. Ren, welcome. Another super channel member here. Super shout out. Thank you. Look at that beautiful green colored name. Or I see it as green anyway in my view. Buckeye, pretty good. Yep. I'm talking with those folks. I hope they have a conversation coming up this week. All right. We are on the last little bit here. Yeah, he's got on perfect amps for Ascend acoustics. Yeah, I'm really curious how these higher end, high quality Class Ds will stack up with the Focal Anthem combination. If there'll be a measurable or discernible difference. I want to put my ear gently up to that speaker with no sound and hear nothing. That'll be one of my litmus tests coming up. So yeah, I got hopefully some cool stuff coming. I already filmed this week's videos. They are edited, they are uploaded. I got to make some thumbnails and do some final prep. I have another entry coming in the Apple TV Master Your Apple TV series, talking about profiles, which does some neat things on the Apple TV, but is actually pretty underdeveloped. So, and I talk about that as well. Again, pragmatic home theater, not just shining stuff up. If there's room for improvement or ways that the things that we use can be better, I like to share my 20 years of engineering and product design, software design knowledge and feelings about that stuff. So hopefully that's another thing I'm hoping we see at WWDC is something really cool around profiles on the Apple TV and power it up. And then I did a teaser for Friday's video is the 5 things I will never do in my home theater AV entertainment setups again. 5 things I will never do. I think I actually messed it up when I was recording it. And a couple of them I said, like, these are things I'll always do, but it's the same thing. If you're always going to do something, then you'll never do the opposite. So, so I thought that one was a fun one. So I kind of have these last couple of weeks, like Monday's been like the Apple TV stuff. Friday's been kind of these more like esoteric food for thought types of videos. That's what we got on tap this week. I don't know when the next live stream will be. I got to look at the weeks ahead. I know the soccer games are picking up next weekend. Weekend games, afternoon games. Weather's looking nice, man. It's looking nice and sunny outside. Kind of want to get out on the bikes with the family. All that fun stuff as the weather gets better. I like these weekend streams though. Today's was really good. We had like 30 plus people. So something about either Sunday's a little better than Saturday. A little later is better than a little earlier, but it really, I don't know. Not that I'm too worried about chasing numbers, but I definitely would like to do this when, more of the channel audience can contribute, be part the Hangout and all of that stuff. And I watch a lot of other channels stream at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. on Saturday. And like they get a lot of people, much bigger channels, of course. But so those times are not that bad. But man, you go 10 a.m. on a weekend and you got a community member that might want to be there on the West Coast who's getting up at 7 a.m. to watch YouTube. Even if it is their favorite channel or whatever. So to me, going a little later, 1 o'clock, but it seems to work out pretty well. And then, yeah, I don't know what, I don't know if we'll do some midweek, but in any case, I like these weekend deals because I'm usually tired in the weekday evenings, and takes away from limited family time and all that stuff. But yada, yada, yada. Hey, I got to get cracking on Batman Arkham Knight. Gotham City isn't going to save itself. All right, last call. Any last questions, comments? What are you doing with your Sunday? What do you got on tap for the rest of the day? You got family time? You getting outside? We're going to do some cleaning, and I would very much like to maybe get outside here today. And yeah, look for the videos tomorrow and Friday. We'll see what else comes after that. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy some gear this week. Looking forward to talk with folks. I've got a consulting session set up. All right, so the final plug all around. Thank you again, Mission Enjoyment, for the $10 super chat today. That is much appreciated. I've got all the stuff out there. If you would like to support the channel, those memberships are there, and I will try to release Friday's video early for the premium members. If you're buying stuff this week, you're getting it on Amazon, consider, I got the affiliate link for that. You're buying some high-end home theater equipment, check with Audio Advice, Techthusiasm. If you're registering that Kaleidescape system, use my code for that. You'll get $100 in movie store credit. Again, I really appreciate any and all things that everybody may be willing to do on that front. And yeah, I will be back. Soon. So we got some things to do. Ren here finishing Jedi Survivor. Keeps crashing. Yeah, an unfinished game. Scott's going to back up some Blu-rays today. Good luck. Hopefully you don't hit any massive playlist obfuscation or particularly challenging forced subtitle situations there. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Super fun 2 hours. So much conversation. Had a great time. I hope you did too. And I will be back. And that Apple TV video profiles tomorrow. Thanks so much.